What's up, Buck Doug with D&E in the Garage. I thought this morning we'd talk a little bit more about automotive news. I think that was fun last time we did it. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. I pulled 3 stories from the past 2 weeks while I was, just around, things that I heard about that I thought would be interesting to talk about. 2 of them I got off the internet. 1 of them I got from this dude I met with the cleanest LJ you've ever seen. We're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to talk today about why Chevy's in trouble with the Silverado, why Dodge and Ram are in trouble with the Hemi, and we're going to talk about the next generation Grand Cherokee, the WL, and the potential for the straight 6 returning to Jeep. First things first, just a real quick one. This was an article that popped up while I was bumming around the interwebs there. I was talking about how Chevy is absolutely plummeting in sales of the new Silverado and Sierra, and they've actually lost their second place to Ram trucks. In America, it goes Ford, Chevy, Dodge, well, Ram. That's just how it's been when it comes to pickup trucks. As far as popularity, you guys know that I am actually a Dodge guy, but I'm just acknowledging that that's the facts of it, all right? And for the past, I think, 10, 11 months, Ram has overtaken Chevy by a significant margin, and there are 2 main reasons. First of all, the Silverado that they've got right now that they're selling, the Silverado or Sierra, depending if you're buying Chevy or GM, a lot of people just generally don't like it. I know the Ram, actually, it's crazy. My father-in-law just bought a Ram pickup truck. He went from a Toyota Tundra to a Ram. The primary reason he left the Tundra was fuel economy, and the reason he went to the Ram, the 1500, he said, was the ride quality. It was incredible. They've got springs on all 4 corners, coil springs. He said it couldn't be beat. He drove the F-150, he drove the 1500, the Sierra, more Toyotas, probably the Nissan. I don't remember if he said he did or not, but the Ram was just a better truck. It was just a better truck. Now, the other problem is that for whatever reason, Chevy's not getting the dealers the versions of these trucks that people want to buy. They've got the Trail Boss version. That's what everybody wants. It's beefy, it's cool looking, it's capable, and for whatever reason, Chevy, GM has not been able to get those versions to dealers. So somebody walks in, they say, "Cool, man, I'm here with cash. Give me one of them Trail Bosses." And they go, "Yeah, we don't have one." They go, "All right, well, screw it. I'm gonna go get a Rebel then, a Ram Rebel or whatever else." So Chevy is in trouble. They're trying to figure out what to do. I guess they have a refresh coming. They're trying to push it out the door, but I thought it was interesting. I always like seeing a Chrysler brand doing better. I'm not anywhere in the market for a pickup truck, but I would tell you, man, those new Rams are just good looking. The hoods are so dang aggressive. Let me know what y'all think. I know for a fact we got some GM guys who watch this channel. Let me know what you guys think about that, and let me know what you think about the direction the Silverado and Sierra are going stylistically. The drivetrains all are what they are, and it just is what it is, and they're all somewhat similar for doing their own thing, whatever. But I think stylistically is really where the change comes, for the most part, on that. Now let's move on to something a little bit crazier, and this one has a little bit of a backstory, so stick with me. I've got a good buddy, Rick. He's been telling me for years at this point that his coworker watches the channel, and that I gotta meet him because this guy is a diehard Jeeper with the nicest Jeep anyone's ever seen. All right, finally, last Friday, I was at a party. Rick was at the party. Well, it was at Rick's house, and this guy Dan is able to come. Dan pulls up in the cleanest LJ you've ever seen. All right, he's got a 2006 LJ Wrangler TJ Unlimited Rubicon. In like this military type color. The frame is absolutely meticulous. He meticulously keeps the engine back. I mean, it was insane. In another few years, this is going to be a Barrett Jackson Jeep. He was telling me he doesn't even put washer fluid in the reservoir because he doesn't want it to stain. I mean, this guy is absolutely keeping this Jeep so insanely pristine. I was so blown away with it. Such an amazingly cool Jeep. Just a real nice 2-inch BDS lift on it. He's keeping everything as close to stock as possible. Got a beautiful look. I was absolutely blown away with this Jeep. I couldn't stop talking about it, looking at it. He was nice enough to let me take some pictures of it to put up on the channel here to share with you guys, because as you know, oh, and it's the 6-speed. How did I forget that? It's the 6-speed, the 4-liter 6. Oh God, it's my dream Jeep. How many times have I told you guys that my dream Wrangler would be a 4-liter 6-speed TJ Unlimited LJ? Dan happened to have it. Now, in the course of talking to Dan, talked to him for about 2 hours there about Jeeps and everything else, he was telling me, hey man, you hear about the Hemis? I said, no, what about the Hemis? He said, man, they're going straight to hell. That's what. So I went and looked at it, and I don't know, I just missed it. It was actually kind of all over the internet. You all may already know about it, but there's a major flaw with the new generation of Hemis. I think, when did they release the new generation of Hemis? Like 2005, maybe? The problem is this. So, as you know, the 5.7 Hemi is a pushrod engine. Unlike the 4-liter, it does not use flat tappet lifters. It uses roller lifters. And what's happening is the roller lifters, the needle bearings inside of the roller lifter are failing, disintegrating, really just disappearing out of there, which obviously causes the roller to not roll, and what it's doing is it's just wearing the cam lobe down. Now, I saw a couple of pictures online, and it's crazy. You'll be looking down the camshaft, and it's like lobe, 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 nothing, lobe, lobe, lobe. And the way this manifests is usually it starts as a misfire, obviously, because you're not opening your valve enough, and if you let it go, it may turn into something catastrophic. It may spread to other cylinders, but it's a pretty big bummer because it's a cam in block engine. It's not an easy thing to fix. And of course, these Hemis are in all kinds of vehicles. I mean, they put them in the Jeep Grand Cherokee, they put them in the Jeep Commander, they put them in the Ram trucks, they put them in the Dodge cars. And to my knowledge, I was looking like, hey, did Fiat Chrysler at least put out like a TSB on it, or have they acknowledged it? It kind of doesn't look like they have. It's very clearly an issue. There are people use roller lifters all over the place, and this does not happen. In fact, it's the opposite. Roller lifters are supposed to alleviate this issue. This is the issue that can happen in the 4-liter with the flat tappet lifters if you don't use oil like a zinc additive oil. I've got a video on that. If you haven't checked it out, I'll link it up in the corner there. This isn't supposed to be an issue. Cam in block pushrod engines have been around forever. We were supposed to have been able to fix this issue. So clearly there's an issue in the metallurgy, in the source parts, something. Doesn't really look like Fiat Chrysler has acknowledged it yet. If any of you have experienced it, because I love the 5.7 Hemi. I think it's a great motor. I'd love to get my hands on one. And it's not like every single one of them have had it. A lot of people have suggested that it's worse in vehicles that do a lot of idling. So if you have like a truck for construction, and maybe it sits there idling for several hours a day for whatever reason. On a couple forums, people were talking about like police fleets that had this issue. I can't comment on that because it seems like normal people are having it as well, though that would make sense. Maybe it's a lack of lubrication or something, because, you know, a roller lifter is still a hydraulic lifter. I don't know, but if you guys have experienced it, I'd love to know your experience, your thoughts on it. Obviously, if you're not a Dodge guy, you probably love hearing that Dodge motors are eating themselves, but I certainly do not, as I hope to get my hands on a 5.7 Grand Cherokee someday. Now, on to the third thing I thought we should talk about today. Okay, we've been getting word about the next generation Grand Cherokee for years now. It was originally supposed to be a 2019 release. Now it's supposed to be a 2021 release. We know it's going to be called the WL, which makes sense. You had the WJ, the WK, now the WL. And we finally got some spy photos, you know, when they wrap it in that weird techno camouflage garbage bags and they go out and drive it, usually because design elements are not finalized or they don't want to leak images to the press. We've seen what is supposed to be the next generation Grand Cherokee out there. Some things have been confirmed, some things are still conjecture or speculated. Let's go through all of it, because I can't wait for the next generation Grand Cherokee. We know it's going to be on the Giorgio platform, which is a new platform that Fiat Chrysler just released. The Alfa Romeo Giulia, I believe, is on that platform. FCA has said that in the next by 2020, in the next year, they're going to be releasing a full 8 models on this platform. So this is going to be their large SUV platform going forward. It's going to be a world platform, which scares me a little bit, because anytime you have a world platform, the cars end up looking weird here in the United States and possibly everywhere. Like, they try to make it so that they are applicable everywhere, and they end up being kind of weird everywhere. GM is famous for this, and I think this is why GM, especially in the mid-2000s, is so weird looking. They have a very distinct, in my opinion, very unpleasant aesthetic to all their vehicles, and it's because they were trying to make everything on a world platform. Anyway, hopefully they will retain some of the Grand Cherokee style elements we all know and love, the acute angle rear taillights, the slanted rear window there, obviously the grille, Jeep, gotta have that. They're claiming that it's still going to have some very cool off-road features. They're talking about a Trailhawk version with air suspension, so they're still going to use that little rotary dial to select the four-wheel drive mode, and apparently if you switch it into four-wheel drive lock, the air suspension is just going to lift you up 2 inches or something, which, I mean, it's cool. It is cool, if we have to have all this technology crammed into our vehicles, can we at least do something cool with it? Can all of it not be nanny systems? Give me an air ride lift, so when I'm driving around town, I'm at a normal lift height, good handling, and when I get off road, crank it up. I wish we could have air suspension that lifted me up 6 inches. That'd be awesome, right? Let's see, what else are they talking about? They're suggesting that there's going to be, they're building this Grand Cherokee model off the Giorgio platform, and then there's going to be 2 vehicles on it, the WL74 and the WL75. The WL74 is going to be a regular 5-passenger version. The WL75 is going to be a 3-row 7-passenger. Now, what's not certain yet, the WL74 is going to be a Grand Cherokee. Done and done. That's the next generation Grand Cherokee. Now, apparently, they've tossed around the idea of also calling the WL75 the Grand Cherokee. Maybe it'll be like the Grand Cherokee Unlimited. That seems dumb to me. It seems way more likely that they either bring back the Commander or Wagoneer name for the 7-passenger version. So what you're going to have is essentially the same vehicle, just one's going to have a slightly longer wheelbase and will accommodate a 3rd row. I think this is really cool. I think it's a great idea. Minivans are a thing of the past. People who need to haul a lot of people are going to they're going to bigger SUVs. You're going to your Chevy Traverse, Suburban, whatever else. You know what I was in the other day? I was in a brand new, we had a salesman at work. He lives in California. He came to visit our office in New Jersey. He had to get a rental car. He rented a brand new Expedition, man. It was the Expedition, shoot, whatever the extended one is. This thing was nice, man. Had the 3 rows. It was like driving in a nightclub, man. Really comfy leather, just like air conditioner for every seat and everything. It was crazy, man. But people were going to vehicles like that because the price isn't that far off from what a minivan would be, and they're getting the good fuel economy numbers from those trucks. In the past, if you bought an Expedition, it was coming with like a 7.3 liter or something. You were getting 5 miles to the gallon. Not anymore. This thing had the EcoBoost in it, twin turbo, whatever, 3 liter, 3.5, whatever it is. And I mean, it hauled ass. I hate to admit it because you guys know how I feel about losing V8 options for Turbo 6, but can't really argue with it. Now that is a perfect segue to what I really wanted to talk about with all of this. Okay, the engine options. You're going to have the 5.7 still as an option in both the 74 and the 75. You're going to have the new 3-liter Ecotec diesel, which I was reading another article as a side note. I wasn't going to add this in, but I just read this last night. For diesels in its class, it has the highest torque rating, so that's interesting. They're thinking about putting it in the 1500. They're going to put it in like the Durango, and now they're going to put it in the next Grand Cherokee. I hope people actually buy it in the United States, because here's what always happens. Everybody says they want diesel options, then they offer diesel options, and no one in the United States buys them, and then we all complain that there's no diesels around. It happened with the Liberty. There are diesel Liberties around, and people are like, why are they so rare? Because nobody bought them from the factory. Anyway, I digress. I think America's finally coming around on the diesel thing, and I find that very cool. The 3-liter diesel will be available. The other engine, the standard engine in the new Grand Cherokee, is supposed to be an inline 6. I could not be happier. I think that is friggin' awesome. They're gonna have a turbo inline 6, somewhere around 3 to 3.5 liters, powering the Grand Cherokee. It'll probably make its way into other vehicles, and I literally could not be happier. I love inline engines. I don't think I've done a video on why I love inline engines, but maybe I should, because inline engines are great. They're simple to work on. They're perfectly balanced. They're just amazing engines, especially inline sixes. So they've already got the inline four, the GMT, the GME T4. I think that's known as the Hurricane, and now they're developing the GME-T6, which is codenamed the Tornado, but nobody suggests that's going to be its name when it actually goes into production. This engine isn't confirmed, but it's like all but confirmed. It seems like this is definitely happening, which I love it. That's awesome. Nothing says Jeep like an inline motor. This one's gonna be turbo, that's even cooler. Imagine a 3-liter inline 6 turbo, which honestly I've wanted to put in my 2000 WJ pretty much since the day I bought it. This is gonna be great. In my opinion, it's going to make the new Jeep a little bit more Jeep. That's how I feel about it. When I was talking to Dan, man, we had the inevitable conversation was, I mean, he's riding around in this amazingly iconic classic Jeep, which the LJ is a classic Jeep at this point. Another couple years, he can get QQ tags for it, and you'll see Jeep LJs like his at Barrett-Jackson at some point. So he's riding around in this classic iconic Jeep. You know me, I ride around in nothing but 20-year-old Jeeps. His wife has a 2016 Cherokee. My wife has a 2018 Compass, and we were just kind of talking about how they're just not the Jeeps we know and love. We like our Compass a lot. We absolutely do. He does not like his Cherokee at all, which is fine. I get it. But there's no denying that it's not this. It's not my Cherokee. It's not his LJ. You know, there's something different. So for me, having an inline 6 in the new Grand Cherokee, I find it very cool. I want to know what you guys think about it. No, it's not going to be like the 4-liter. I know that. It's going to be a modern engine. It's going to be electronic to death, and it's going to be turbo though, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Let me know what you guys think about that and the other 2 stories. And if you want to throw some props Dan's way, because I guarantee he will see this video, and now you guys have seen his Jeep because I put the pictures up on the thing. Let Dan know what you think about his LJ. I was blown away by this thing, man. It was the nicest Wrangler I've seen that wasn't, like, you know, new. It was new. I just can't friggin' get over it. Me and Ash, the wife, were both looking at it. We couldn't get over it, man. It was just so clean. It's like, do you actually drive this thing? It's got 56,000 miles on it. Garage kept, not driven in the snow, not driven in the rain. He treats this thing the way a true classic car should be treated. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Thanks for sticking around for the news with me. Leave me that comment down there in the squawk boxes. Let me know what you guys think. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.